Shalom, giving all praise to my Heavenly Father. His name is Yahweh, by Yeshim, Yahweh Shah, by Yeshim, Wakahakadash, double honors to the apostles and the elders that we well. And many salutations to Yakyam, this Torben and his truth. I've been seeing a lot of clips about this particular topic, and I found it very interesting. It's going to have the fact that America isn't producing enough children to sustain itself in the workforce, and it's for numerous factors. Um, One factor, is because the pride agenda, if you get my drift, that's been pushed on these people, which is a form of population control, aka a form of eugenics, something we like to go into often. Um, it's also because the cost of living is so damn high. People don't want to make a commitment, uh, to take care of the children. It's because the people, also because of the people, are perpetual children here, man. It's a very childish mindset. Here in Babylon the Great, you know, uh, people in their 30s and 40s, you know, in particular Judah, you know what I'm saying? They mimic the children. Whatever the children say and do, whatever the children dress in, these people that are older try to emulate it, and ultimately this is a judgment of Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai, because the ruler of this people are wicked, and death, is running rampant. Okay, you got the big A that's happening. You got contraceptives going on. And really, sex is made for marriage, yes, but procreation. That's the underlying reason why the Most High made sex. We're supposed to be fruitful and multiply, right? But when you commercialize sex, when you ostracize masculinity, this is the product that you get, okay? And uplift, Moism, if you get my drift. This is the product that you get, man. All types of lewdness, which produces death, okay? So people are mourning, and the reason why they're mourning and they're not willing, I should say, to have children is because shit, it costs you damn much. Okay, and this is a product of who's ruling over us, man. Okay, now this is Proverbs 19:2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. And this is what you see going on. The people are mourning constantly. You hear people about, being laid off or being overworked and underpaid, right? People are they're harder to sustain themselves. And, and it's very difficult to sustain yourself and think about children, man, right? Now, if you're a person that believes in the scriptures, you're constantly fearful for your children. You're constantly thinking about the vices that are out here, right? And it's not worth it, right? Now, the average person, they're antichrist, so they disvalue children. You have our women, so-called black women, saying, "F them kids. I'm gonna throw them in the trash can." Years ago, they had a challenge to that. Throw the baby in the trash can challenge. Okay, that's why there's a lack of children out here, because there's disregard of life, and you can blame that on the rulers of these people, man. Which is who? Esau, Edom, the so-called white race. He's doing all this wickedness on the face of the earth, man. Okay. Ecclesiastes 10:1. A wise judge would instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered. As the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers. In what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. Right? So if the ruler is a base man, it's a lewd man, it's a malicious man, that's what his subjects are going to be. And this is what you see here in Babylon the Great. Nothing but lewdness, maliciousness, strife, violence, right? These kids aren't safe. It's just a destruction of life in all facets, man. Right? All facets of life is destroyed. The ecosystem is jacked up. These kids are jacked up. Right? Life, as you notice, is fucked up, man. And that's because a certain group of people that are ruling. And these people, they want the population to decrease so they can usher in that MOTB. Okay, they can control the people. They want to be as God. They want to manufacture procreation. Okay, and the people are starting to realize how everything is commercialized. In the morning, they're in a self-survival state. People are in a self-survival state. They ain't, people ain't trying to think about having kids. People are too busy thinking about themselves, right? Individualism run rampant here, man. It's all about yourself and uplifting yourself. It's not about collectivism like in the Eastern culture, right? It's all about doing what you feel is right, right? Pushing your own agenda versus the betterment of the collective. And it leads to what you see before you, man. Right? It leads to a low birth rate. All right? Verse 3. An unwise king destroyeth his people, but through the prudence of them which are in authority, the city shall be inhabited. Right? So when Yahushua returns, the people are going to be flourishing. Life is going to be flourishing. We're going to be growing with the earth. We're going to help the earth grow. Right? You shouldn't see a damn ant pile and feel the need to destroy it if it's in our yard. Get some soap and get some water, mix it together, and pour it down a ant pile to destroy it because you have, because it's it's dangerous towards your children. That's not going to be so when Yahushua returns, man. It's going to be total harmony on the earth, but you don't see that going on now. Why is that? Emphasizing the point: the wicked beareth rule, man. Okay, this is why people are such in a lamenting state. All right, so let me play this for you guys. I'll play about 4 minutes of it, and that'll be it. And hopefully it's edifying.
Did you know that college enrollment is falling? Not because fewer people want an education, but because there are fewer young people left to educate. That's it. That's the story. America is running out of youth. The number of children in the U.S. has already peaked. School districts are consolidating. College cohorts are shrinking. And for the first time, the demographic future of the country looks smaller, not bigger. We are stepping into a slow, silent crisis, one we thought only happened elsewhere. For decades, we pointed to Japan's aging population, to South Korea's plummeting birth rate, to Europe's quiet demographic collapse. We treated them like distant warnings, curiosities, cultural oddities. But now the same patterns are appearing here, and we're running out of excuses. Fertility is falling, aging is accelerating, and the illusion of American exceptionality is cracking. We are no longer immune, we are simply behind. And the longer we pretend this is someone else's problem, the deeper into it we fall. I'm John Lehnerborg, and this is Economic Circuit. Today, we're talking about the future America refused to see, and what happens to a nation that quietly stops reproducing itself.
Forgive me.
Let's get to it.
Welcome
to Economic Circuit, where we break down the forces driving our global economy. From the history of major companies to today's shifting trends, we're here to make complex topics clear and relevant. There was no loud warning, no breaking news, no cultural reckoning. Just a steady, uninterrupted decline that most people didn't notice or didn't want to notice. In 2007, the US was still reproducing at the so-called replacement level, roughly 2.1 children per woman. It was a number that economists and planners relied on, a benchmark of demographic health. But that was the peak. Since then, the fertility rate has dropped relentlessly, falling to 1.64 by 2020, and it hasn't stopped falling. As of the most recent data from 2024, it remains near 1.6, with early estimates suggesting it may dip further in 2025. These are numbers more commonly associated with aging European nations or East Asian demographic crises, not the so-called land of youth. The story this tells is simple. Americans are no longer replacing themselves, and they haven't been for years. The 2008 financial crisis is often cited as the breaking point.
Hey, that's why the whole immigration crisis is bullshit. Y'all letting these people in, right? And they're using the Northern Tribe to push an agenda, right? And the agenda is ultimately to take away the American rights, but they're using the Northern Tribe, the so-called Latinos, as a way to propagate martial law, bro. This guy here, he's off the chain. This demon, he's off the chain. Okay, we'll get to it though.
The moment when confidence cracked and people put their lives on hold. But the more striking detail is what happened after. Unlike previous recessions, where birth rates rebounded with the economy, this time they didn't. The recovery came. The babies didn't. Even the COVID-19 pandemic, which led many to reevaluate work, life, and relationships, failed to reverse the trend. There was a brief uptick in 2021, a statistical flicker. But it quickly faded, swallowed by the deeper forces reshaping American life. So what changed? For one, the timing of adulthood has shifted. Americans are marrying later, if at all. They're having children later, if at all. And when parenthood does come, it often arrives as a carefully managed event, shaped more by caution than celebration. This is not a country teeming with large families anymore. It's a country of only children, childless couples, and silent nurseries. Some of this is by design, some is by delay. Much of it is driven by the sheer weight of modern life. Because raising a child in...
People are waiting for, the lives to get together, come together for the American dream. And people are starting to find out that the American dream is actually a nightmare. People go to these schools and they accumulate all this debt in hopes to get a job. And when they hit the job force, there's no jobs available. Or they got a bullshit degree, and the degree doesn't translate over to anything that's meaningful. Not to mention the dating market. Forget about it. People are online all day long complaining about the opposite sex, right? So to the point to where men and women hate with one another, So people don't procreate, man. And you can blame that on Esau Edom and his way, right? His way, or his culture, has, permeated the Western world, man. And it's caused what? It's caused confusion. Okay? This is why this place is spiritually Babylon the Great. Okay? And this is why this place has to be taken out of the way. This place has to be destroyed so life can flourish. Okay? Let's get this nice Revelation. Revelation 18:2. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is falling, and it's become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and fearful bird. That's right. So this place is riddled with decadence, man. We in the Pride Month, so where people are celebrating lewdness, bro. Transgenderism, you know what I'm saying? Homosexuality, you know what I'm saying? And guess who's at the forefront of it? The so-called black woman and her nastiness. Now the so-called black woman, they're getting with one another. You know, you got a burly, you know what I'm saying, a black woman with a collar shirt on, fat form collar shirt on, head tilted to the side like she T.I., sagging, talking about she's a nigga in a relationship. And a woman that's supposed to be the female, she done had 3 different baby daddies, and all of a sudden she decided that she's gay at 32. It's just confusion out here, bro. It's confusion out here, and it's producing death. It's producing death, man. This is why this place has to be destroyed. Okay? All right? This place has been the forerunner to a very lewd culture. Western culture is very lewd culture. If you do research on Western culture, you know, in particular the Greeks, they push, you know, homosexuality in their in their upper class for population control, and it's the same thing going on now. It's not coincidence that, you know, the plight, which that plight, word plight means a sad state, the plight of you so-called Negroes have been married to the alphabet community, man, because it's a form of population control. It's actually a term called pederasty. Okay, right? Look that up. Where you had the aristocrats of the Greek culture would have relations with, you know, boys, okay, or adolescents, or, you know, teenagers and shit. This is the same mindset that's pushed here, man. Right? And within doing so, it's destroying the people. Right? Not only that, but the grinding is ceasing, alluding to Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter. You know, it's hard, very difficult for people to feed themselves, let alone a child. So people are opting to not even have one. Okay? Right? Also, people are charged themselves. More people. There's more people out there that could tell you more about Marvel Comics than the Bible, right? Than politics. Okay? This world is built off of, well, this world, or Babylon, I should say, is built off consumerism, man. It's destroying the people. Their minds, not only their minds, you know what I'm saying, but reproduction, their legacy. So this place has to be taken out of the way. All right? Back to Revelation. Revelation 2 and Revelation 8:2. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is falling, and it's become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Now, if you're paying attention to what that news clip, that the video said, it says that this phenomenon that we see is in Western European nations, and also developing Asian nations like Japan. Okay, right? The so-called developing world, or the first worlds, and they're not reproducing. Why is that? Because they're following after the image of the beast. Okay? Verse 3, for all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And the king of the earth had committed fornication with her, and the merchant of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. Right? This is how Western culture is spread via the strength of the American dollar, and these other countries utilizing the American dollar as its reserve. And with that reserve money or reserved currency status, America was able to dictate contracts. Okay? They would dictate contracts. If you're dictating the contracts, that makes your country substantially rich. And so people begin to stop reproducing because they're chasing that bag. Right? They're chasing consumerism. And it's destroying this people. This world, this way is destroying the people. So it got to be taken out of the way. Okay? And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, "Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not her plagues." And what is that talking about? That's talking about being delivered, the elect being delivered out of this place before it's destroyed. Okay? For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High has remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works, in the cup which she hath filled her double. Right? So the Most High is going to double the plagues of this place. He's going to destroy this place. And the way in which he's doing that is, one way, he's destroying the legacy of this place. He's destroying this place from being able to reproduce because of its wayward doctrines. Okay? Right? So, prayer is edifying. We give all praise to man and Father. The name is Yahweh by Shem Yahushua by Shem Kakadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders everywhere. Many salutations to y'all. Count as told in the truth. Shalom.